everyone, I'm Jess and today it is finally time for me to do my October book haul. Now this haul, I'm aware, is pretty badly delayed. I recently started a new job, so I don't have time to film. I have even less time to edit. But October was a big month for me because it's my birthday month, so I'm always up for treating myself to books around that time. I was in London for a week with college, so I had access to all the really big bookshops. So I did quite a bit of shopping and quite a lot of online orders came through for me this month. So in this book haul, I'm not going to give you a synopsis of all of the books. If they look interesting to you, hopefully it should be very clear what the names and authors are for you so you can go and have a little research of them on your own. But the amount of books that I have got this month, it will just be a 20-minute long video if I give you a synopsis of all of them. So I'm just going to give you how much they were, where I got them from, and you can do the rest. I went to two different events in Piccadilly in October. One was the Fantasy and Folklore discussion with Lisa Ludica, Melinda Salisbury and Samantha Shannon, and the other was Joanne Harris's Pocketful of Crows event. Because I already got an arc of Lisa Ludica's A Shiver of Snow and Sky at Yalc and it was already signed, I bought for full price a full finished copy, A Shiver of Snow and Sky by Lisa Ludica, got it signed by her then at Waterstones Piccadilly. Because Samantha Shannon was there, I've got 2 copies of every book in the Bone season signed already. I didn't need another copy, so I got Because You Love to Hate Me, 13 Tales of Villainy, which I really had to hunt down in London. Piccadilly didn't have a copy that they could find for me, so I ran down the road to Hatchards. This was full price, and I got Marigold section by Samantha Shannon signed by her at the event. Now, whilst I was in London for college during the week, it was my birthday and I was going to treat myself, so I went down to this shop called Forbidden Planet, which I get to from Tottenham Court Road, and it's all comic based. So there are lots of comics downstairs along with loads and loads of books, and they often have a really good signed selection. So I picked up a book I've looked at a couple of times called Infernal by Mark de Jager. This is a signed copy. I'm fairly sure I bought this at full price. I've looked at it a few times and been very interested in it. Again, it's got a beautiful cover and it was signed. That is why I bought it. At Forbidden Planet, I also picked up Duskfall and Dark Immolation, book 1 and 2 of the Chaos Queen Quintet by Christopher Husberg. And with a series title like that, how could you not want to pick up these books? I also picked up a book that I'd looked at a couple of times called The Race by Nina Allen, again signed. This I think was £2 off, so £5.99, again at Forbidden Planet. I've looked at these books for a little while. Kim Newman has got a lot of books at Forbidden Planet and she had loads of them signed, but I was trying to restrict myself to one, and I'd looked at this a couple of times. I think it's the red that attracts me. Again, signed copy. I think this was full price. It may have been £2 off. It all blurs together because it was one big shopping experience. Again, Forbidden Planet. Quite excited to read this. I went into the reduced section of Forbidden Planet before I was leaving as well and got The Waterborne Blade by Susan Murray. This was really reduced. It was very cheap and I'm, signed book. I'm attracted. It was cheap. It's mine. Now, the reason I started buying all of these books at Forbidden Planet was because I saw this. There's Someone Inside Your House, Stephanie Perkins, hardback, signed copy in the UK. Very rare we get hardbacks in the UK. I've been seeing the paperback everywhere. And I saw the arcs of these pinging around on Twitter for no end just before it was coming out. So I absolutely had to have this because it's been in the media for ages. So I said that I went to another book event, and that was Joanne Harris's Pocketful of Crows event, and that is what I've got here. So I bought this. This was the day of release, I think. I remember, and of course got that signed by her there. And I had also picked up The Gospel of Loki, and I tried my hardest to find a hardback, and it's a little bit damaged because I paid about £2.80 for it, which is cheap as chips, and again signed and personalised to me, so £2.80 is not worth anything to anybody but me, which is really, really nice. And now I have Runelight and Rune Marks and Gospel of Loki all in hardbacks, which is really nice set to have. A pre-order that I've had online for a while, all the way over in the US with Barnes & Noble, is One Dark Throne, book 2 to 3 Dark Crowns, being an exclusive bonus scene inside, signed by the author, which is of course why I got it. I got the first book from Owl Crate a while ago, and of course I think we've got the signed bookplate in there, so I felt like I needed a signed edition of the second as well. Also, I wanted it in hardback. We only get the paperbacks here in the UK, and it's got the lovely edges on here, all lovely and rustic and In October, I also picked up Into the Water by Paula Hawkins, and this was from Goldsboro Books. This is a signed first edition. I think I paid £20 for this. It is signed on the inside. It is very well protected by a nice plastic film over the dust cover. Signed there, first edition. Essentially why I had to have it. I've also got a signed edition of Girl on the Train for a couple of years ago that I got at Waterstones, so I felt like I needed to continue with her books. My first and I think only non-signed book on this haul is the special edition of The Language of Thorns by Lee Bardgo that was included in this month's Fairy Loot Villainous box. And this is gorgeous. I absolutely love the red foil. So I didn't have much choice in getting this. I knew it was going to be in there because they kind of revealed that it was going to be in there. And I do have another copy of this that I got back in September, I think, that is signed. So I've got two editions of this. It's got a tiny bit of wear on the top, but that just comes with not having a dust jacket over it. I'm very excited to get to read this at some point soon. It's quite a heavy book, but I'm excited that I've got a really exclusive edition as well. So, of course, the other book that was included in this month's Fairy Loot box, the main book, was Forest of a Thousand Skies by Julie C. Deo. Again, I hope I've got that right. Signed bookplate in there, which I've stuck in on the opening page. This is all included in the Fairy Loot box. So these two books I don't have a set price for. These are in US dollars anyway because they're the hardback. I really like the colour scheme of this. I don't have very many bright green books. Another book that I picked up just in the general fiction of Waterstones Piccadilly this month was Fierce Kingdom by Gin Phillips. As you can see, it's just $12.99 and again signed by the author. That was the reason I picked it up. I did do a really quick read of the synopsis of this and thought it was pretty insane. I mean, I don't do a lot of reading of adult novels, but this is sort of me starting to venture into more sci-fi and fantasy as opposed to YA sci-fi and fantasy. So I thought this would be a good kind of psychological thriller, I suppose that's what it is, and I really like the title of it. It's very fantasy without clearly being actual fantasy genre. I also picked up from Goldsboro Books Shadow Black by Sebastian de Castell, book 2 of Spellslinger, and I really like that they've continued the theme of the cover and changed the colour to blue. I mean, I really liked the red on the original cover. That was what grabbed me. And then, of course, I had a signed edition of the first one and so needed a signed edition of the second. And when Goldsboro do a signed edition, it's better than any other place because it's a first edition as well, always guaranteed. So I always get it from them if it crops up. The last book that I picked up at Goldsboro this month was the Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban illustrated edition signed by Jim Kay, the illustrator. As you can see, this cost me £30. It is a heavy book to be carrying this. Now this is a book that I got probably midway to the beginning of October, and it is probably the book of the month for people, and that is The Book of Dust, The Return of Philip Pullman, La Belle Sauvage Volume 1. And this, as you can see, is the limited edition, slipcase, foiled, signed, all of the good stuff edition, and it's very struggling to get it out. Oh. So, which edition did I get? So this is number 1697 of 5000, Philip Pullman. And I think they've even got somebody else to number these, which I find really funny. He's tearing through these so quickly. I'm really grateful, however, with so many of them to sign, that he does write out his full name. So those are the books that I got during October. 19. That's a lot for me, considering I probably read a maximum of 4 in the month now that I'm working full time. And it's really great. I felt really, really proud of the amount of books that I got. Only one of these is not signed. That shows how much I'm trying to cherish my shelf space. And I'm very happy I've got some of these editions. I'm really excited to read lots of these. And I hope that that's given you an idea of some of the books that I'm very much into reading or trying to read. I mean, I've got some sci-fi books here that I haven't read a lot of since Pierce Brown came out. I'm very excited for Iron Gold, but I'm starting to get into sci-fi a little bit more now. I'm trying to branch out and find some authors I might like, not in the YA section. So I hope you enjoyed this book haul. Hopefully I'm going to do a wrap up for October very soon because I read really great books during October, including The Last Namzara, and Everless, which I really enjoyed and I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about, without spoilers obviously. So I'll see you then. Thank you very much for watching. Bye!